Good evening and welcome everybody to the Marine Conservation Society 2025 Annual General Meeting. It's fantastic to have you all here with us tonight. I see the numbers of attendees are growing, and in the next few minutes, we will be kicking off. The next few seconds, I should say, we will be kicking off with a fantastic evening. I hope you're settled into where you are. I'm seeing those numbers grow rapidly. Welcome to you all as you join. This is the Marine Conservation Society's Annual General Meeting 2025, and I'm filling the gaps or filling the time a little bit as we see our numbers of attendees grow. Very exciting. We've got a lineup ready and waiting for you. And in a few seconds, I'm going to get started. My name is Mark Haviland. I am the Vice Chair of the Marine Conservation Society and your host for this evening and for this evening's proceedings. I'm really pleased. This is my third occasion and actually my last to host this. So I'm very excited to see you all. The program for tonight covers all the essential business and governance of the charity, as well as opportunities to celebrate, to educate, and of course, to celebrate, educate, and to congratulate. That's the key. And at this point, I'm going to get you all used to using the buttons on your screens. I hope you notice there are some reactions that you can make. So maybe we can all start practicing using those reactions. You can see hearts, you can see balloons, claps. There we go. It's all coming up now. This is how we can see you, or one of the ways we can see you engage with this evening. That's fantastic to see so many of those going. Now, obviously, as with last year, this AGM is online, which is great because you can sit there in the comfort of your own home, of your workplace, or maybe even a coffee shop, and enjoy the wonderful lineup that we've got going for you all. And I'm looking forward to introducing not only some familiar old faces that you will have seen before, but some fantastic new ones too. Now, a couple of admin points to kick things off with. Throughout the meeting, all the sessions will be monitored by a member of our team to help ensure it goes smoothly. We'll have several members of the team and the board pop up occasionally to add to the content as we go through, and we'll do our best to keep everything flowing as we go. There will be a couple of occasions for you to ask questions, and so you can see at the bottom of your screen a Q&A button. So do use that if you've got a question that you want to pose now, or maybe a question that you want to pose a little later during the formal part of the evening or during the exec team Q&A. Please use that and we'll get to as many questions in the time that we can. And if we can't get to every question, we'll certainly be able to upload answers to the questions to the website afterwards. And we'll, as time allowing, we'll get to as many as possible. Captions are available throughout the evening, if you would like, just to ensure everybody can hear, read and see as is possible. Now you can switch them on or off at the bottom of the screen. And the recording will include them. Now, they are done automatically, so bear with us if there's a little delay, or there might be some inaccuracies as the machine listens to our wonderful voices. But anyway, the captions are there to help you. Now, to this evening's business. In a couple of minutes, we're going to have an overview of the past year and the coming year. Well, the past year from Amanda Nobbs, our chair, and then a look forward into the coming year from our chief executive, Sandy Look. But before that, we're thrilled to present a fabulous video created by the team just to show the impact that the Marine Conservation Society has had so far this year. Please do enjoy.
project's a major success, and we just keep building from strength to strength as we go on. We investigated the environmental history, we've demonstrated the qualities to surviving the site, and then we've optimised the process of restoration, and now we're moving to scale.
We're really wanting to change legislature, change the laws so that the beaches are kept nice and clean. So plastic isn't coming here in the first place. No single use, let's get everyone on reusable.
This instrument will restrict and ban commonly littered single-use plastic items that we so often see polluting our environment and are frequently reported, very sadly, in beach litter surveys.
Thank you so much for joining us this evening, and what a year. We've remained strongly focused on our clear ocean goals, a better protected, cleaner and healthier ocean, supported by a growing and engaged community. And the good news is that change is happening for our ocean. Our collective actions are driving real, measurable progress. While we continue, yes, to face an ocean, nature and climate crisis, the pathway forward has never been clearer. Ocean recovery is happening and we can see it. Here are some of our key recovery achievements. 3 years ago, you may remember we reported devastating bottom trawling in 98% of UK offshore marine protected areas. Today, thanks to our collective efforts, we have bylaws in place that are offering meaningful protection to a seabed area the size of Essex, providing space for nature to recover. In 2022, Dogger Bank became the first marine protected area to receive stronger protection. Seabed fishing has dropped by 98%, and our research shows that nature is returning. Seagrass restoration is taking off. We've tripled seagrass cover in Plymouth Sound, in areas where we've introduced sustainable alternatives to seabed anchors, and this innovation is spreading to nearby bays. We're reintroducing native oysters to the Firth of Forth, building on our success in restoring nature's water filters in the Dornoch Firth. Our work in the overseas territories is resulted in a 22% increase in seagrass cover, as you saw in the pictures, benefiting marine life, including sea turtles, and also contributing to climate recovery. And our task now is to scale up our efforts to ensure that our ocean becomes a mainstream issue for our economy, for well-being, and in climate strategies. This year, we partnered with Simmons & Simmons to host a groundbreaking event with financial industry leaders aiming to unlock funding for ambitious ocean recovery projects. And we also participated in cross-party debates on the economic impact of a healthy ocean. So turning to our campaigning for a cleaner ocean, our efforts to address the growing threat of marine pollution have really stepped up. In response to the scale of sewage pollution, we took legal action with the Good Law Project, going to the High Court to press for action on marine pollution from overflow sewers. And as a direct result, government introduced plans to tackle this source of pollution in our seas and estuaries. And we raised awareness of forever chemicals and lobbied for government plans on microfiber filters in washing machines. We really value working with communities and our supporters. Our Beach Watch programme, supported by Aldi, went from strength to strength this year. We invested in a dedicated team to deliver our beach cleans, and that led to a 40% increase in events and helped us raise vital funds. We're incredibly grateful to the players of the People's Postcode Lottery who've donated more than £6 million over the years, enabling us to take sustained action and deliver real results. Our unrestricted funding from trusts and grants makes such a difference and has been crucial in allowing us to employ expert staff who work tirelessly on behalf of our ocean. None of these achievements would be possible without you, our members, donors, volunteers, and supporters. We're deeply grateful. We're delighted to welcome new members to our community, and it's been great to see the positive feedback that we've had from our new digital magazine, Your Ocean. It's also been an incredible honour that His Majesty the King renewed his patronage of our charity, and we're thankful for his continued support. It's so easy to feel helpless in the face of big challenges. I love the fact that by working together as the Marine Conservation Society, we can achieve tangible progress towards a cleaner, healthier ocean for everyone. As we look forward to the year ahead, let's continue to be catalysts for change, driving ocean, nature, and climate recovery. Thank you again for your support. And I'd now like to hand over to Sandy. And Sandy, I'm going off piste, you're not expecting this, but I just want to put on record an enormous thank you to you personally, the executive, and to your team, because we would not be the organisation that we are and achieve the things that we do without what you do. So thank you, and over to you for the year ahead.
Thank you so much, Amanda. And like Amanda said, this year really has been marked by both significant progress in ocean recovery and also notable challenges. I mean, we've all seen it: floods, storms, sewage and other pollution. And it couldn't be more clear that there's an urgent need for swift and decisive ocean action. Our climate, our nature, and our ocean depend on it, as do we, of course. What that means for the coming year for the Marine Conservation Society is to have as much impact as we possibly can and achieve those ambitious goals that Amanda's been talking about. We are going to be focusing on 3 essential aims: ocean regeneration, effective ocean management, and water quality. And we are going to engage strategically across all 4 nations of the UK to ensure that our work really is national in scope and as effective as it possibly can be. To achieve our goals, we are going to continue to be both dogged and persistent. We have loads of experience of that, and it's really necessary to create that long-term positive change. And we're also going to be creative and innovative to speed up impact. We have been campaigning for years and years and years for legislation, as loads of you know, on deposit return systems, ending sewage pollution, banning forever chemicals, PFAS. And that persistence is having an effect, because across the UK, our decision makers are implementing and they're discussing new policies and regulations in all of these areas. We couldn't be more pleased that deposit return schemes are finally going to enter into force in 2027 across the UK. Tougher measures on water pollution are on the table and being discussed. Forever chemicals even are getting more attention in our parliaments now. And we will keep on using all of our expertise and our powers of persuasion to hold our governments and our regulators to delivering on all those things. And at the same time, as I've already said, we will also continue to be creative and try new approaches and find fresh solutions to really ramp up our impact. We are going to use the experience we've already have had. And currently, we're developing a flagship program of marine recovery projects that, crucially, engage with local communities. And we're going to be focusing on creating resilient and connected spaces in our seas for restoring key habitat forming species, including oysters, seagrass or kelp. At the moment, we're identifying critical opportunities along the coasts of Northern Ireland, Wales and Scotland. Couldn't be more excited. Watch this space is all I can say. But alongside that as well, we are going to be launching an inclusive learning programme through the delivery of what we're calling our One Ocean Roadshow. We'll be working with schools and youth groups and communities across significant parts of Northern England's most underserved regions. And our goal there is to connect 10,000 people with the sea and inspire meaningful ocean action in all of them. Obviously, there's more that we're going to be doing. We're going to keep you up to date with all of our projects and all of our work, and really hope for your continued enthusiasm, engagement, support, love that's pouring in through all the emojis that you're sending, so that we can keep up that pressure for change that we need so much. Thank you so much, all of you, for being here today and for being part of our journey. And we cannot wait to see what we will achieve together in the coming year as we continue to make waves for our ocean. Mark, back to you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Sandy. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. The love is coming in, and I'm hearing determination too. I really am. I'm hearing determination. I'm hearing optimism. I'm hearing action, influence. You know, there's urgency as well. So there's a great deal there that is coming in. Wonderful. Thank you so much, both Amanda and Sandy, for that powerful intro. I'm now going to introduce you to Susan. Susan, if you could join us. Where are you now? Are you
Hi,
there?
Mark.
There you are. Wonderful. Great to see you, Susan. Now, Susan, our treasurer and fellow trustee, is about to take us through our financial overview of the accounts for 23 and 24. Susan, over to you.
Thanks very much, Mark, and good evening, everyone. As Mark says, I'm Susan Ronaldson. I'm the treasurer of the Marine Conservation Society, and after 6 years, this is actually my final AGM as a trustee. During that time, I've seen MCS grow in size and impact, doubling its income and expanding its vital work at a time when its mission has never been more critical. So as a board and as an organisation, we are strongly focused on clear ocean goals, better protected, cleaner and healthier ocean, underpinned by engaged community of support, and you as our members are an integral part of that community. Our priorities at the start of 23-24 were to maximise our impact with the resources available and to utilise the restricted reserves to continue to delivering project activity. We set out and set a balanced budget for unrestricted funds with the aim of maintaining our reserves levels within our policy. Overall, we spent £4 million on our charitable activities, which was 81% of our total spend, and delivered a £17,000 surplus on our unrestricted activity. And I just wanted to take you through some of those numbers in more details, starting with our income and then looking at our expenditure. So to illustrate that, I think we have a slide to help us. Yeah, so first of all, on income. So yes, as you can see, the total income for the year was 5.1 million, and that was 10% higher than the previous year, whilst unrestricted income at 3.7 million was 6% higher. That was achieved despite continued inflationary pressures during the year, which impacted on disposal income for individuals, as well as all our other donors and supporters. Our income comes from a broad range of sources. So 2.1 million, which represents 42% of total income, comes from trusts and company donations. We received £1 million in grants. We had 597,000 from our incredible membership, and thank you so much because that makes it such a vital difference to us, and a further 393,000 from individual donations. The balance came from a mixture of royalties, sales, beach cleans, and education activities and legacies. And if you're interested in seeing more detail, then a big shout out for our financial review section of our annual impact report. Really worth reading the annual impact report if you haven't seen it, full of really fantastic information about the charity and how we spend our money. So if I could turn to the next slide on expenditure. Thank you. So as I mentioned earlier, 81% of all our income received went on delivering our charitable activities across our 4 ocean goals. So we spent 960,000 on raising funds, which is in line with the previous year's spend of 967,000. However, this year we generated 10% more income, meaning we raised £5.34 for every pound spent on fundraising. Our total expenditure for the year was 4.97 million, which was lower than the previous year's spend, which had been 5.57 million. However, 22-23 was somewhat unusual year because we sought to utilise the reserves that we had built up when our activities were restricted during the pandemic. So that meant we deliberately went for an operating deficit with an operating deficit of 899,000, and that contrasts to the 163,000 total surplus in 23-24. Now, we spent 1.4 million in the year on our Better Protected Ocean goal and over 900,000 each on both the Cleaner and Healthier Ocean goals, with a further 731,000 being spent on our For Everyone goal. Our education and engagement work continues to increase our reach and impact, and during the year, our volunteers of all ages spent over 23,000 hours cleaning and recording litter on the UK's beaches, carrying out nearly 1,200 surveys and removing 480,000 items of litter from those beaches. So looking forward, the trustees have again set a balanced budget for unrestricted funds for 24-25, with the ambition to continue to grow income and to deliver more impact with that income. As I step down as trustee, I will proudly continue to be a supporter of MCS as a member, and I'm sure together we can continue to meet the challenge to raise funds that are needed to support the organisation's ambitious ocean goals. And now I'm going to hand back to Mark, who's going to take us through to the Q&A section of this evening.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Susan. And just before you go, a big thank you, because I think, in these stretching times when, everybody is feeling the pinch, companies, households, individuals, it's a really tough time for everybody. And so financial stability, financial credibility, sense, and pragmatism is so important. And that's clearly what you guys have achieved. You've really kept everything afloat. It's just and more so. And I think it sets us up really well for a great 2025. So congratulations to you and the team for managing a very complex set of accounts so brilliantly.
Thanks very much, Mark. And yeah, we obviously could not do it without the fantastic support of all our members and our other donors. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Well, I'm now going to use this as an opportunity to open the floor to our members to ask questions. And at that point, I invite our exec team and our board to join. So I'm hoping everybody's filling your screen with smiling faces and wavy backgrounds. And you'll notice there's a blue and a green. That I hope you can see people's names and positions, but the blue background signifies trustee and the green or aqua signifies an exec team member. And so you've got a wonderful array in front of you now. I'm sure more will be joining. as we go through. And we've now got 20 minutes. I'm just checking the time now. Perfect. Wow, we are bang on time. Up to 20 minutes for you to ask us questions. I've mentioned the Q&A section before, so please send them all through. Some people have pre-sent some questions before, having been asked to in the emails in the build-up. So I'm going to go straight to one of those to kick us off. And this question is going to go to Jen. Are you there? I can see you there, Jen. Fantastic. Now, we had several questions around Sea Search, but essentially the question is, what are this is a fantastic thing. It's been going for many years, but what are our future plans? Over to you.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, our Sea Search citizen science programme is incredibly exciting, and we're looking to develop that more and get it going from strength to strength, as it is already a really strong programme. As you said, it's 35-year data set and growing. It's of marine habitat, species diversity. We use that to contribute to marine management plans, policy, and our conservation work. And it's really strong project programme that we've got there, and we just really want to build on that legacy and develop it further. So we want to grow the volunteer network in that area. We've got new team members who have joined the Sea Search team who are looking at ways that we can grow that, but also really improve the volunteer experience more, and how we can help to streamline, for example, the volunteer accreditation that takes part in that, and the making sure that it's more efficient for people to put data in, but also ensuring that data is still robust as well, and looking to improve the communication and bring the volunteers from the Sea Search programme into the organisation more, because we just really want to celebrate the work that the volunteers do, what that data provides as well, and just grow that community, because it is a really exciting project for us.
It really is. Thank you. Great answer. And just to refer back to what we heard earlier, 23,000 hours put in by volunteers. And much of that is Sea Search and beach clean and stuff. So, critical stuff. And so, this is a central piece going forward. Okay, moving on to our next question. I'm monitoring the live Q&A, but I've also got another question here. Now, this has been a big topic. Sandy, this one's for you, if you're ready. There's been a lot of coverage about rivers and pollution and frustration. People are frustrated, and it's a big, cultural debate, if not an economic debate, a political debate. But what can be done about protecting our oceans and our waters generally from sewage pollution? Sandy.
Yeah, I mean, it's really exciting times at the moment, because of course Amanda was telling us and talking about the case we brought against the UK government last year to try and really encourage them to do something about this. And this year we are suddenly seeing lots and lots and lots of actions. Currently, our teams are responding to 8 consultation responses, from bathing water regulations to stricter liability for water companies to emergency sewage discharges. It is really quite exciting, and the progress is across all nations. So there's progress in Scotland, for example, in relation to monitoring sewage discharges and sewage overflows, and that's also something that we're really going to be pursuing across all nations. And there is, in England, there is a reform of the water industry and water regulations going on where we're going to be inputting as well. So we are definitely going to be asking all of you at various points in time over the next year to support what we're asking for, to support our campaigns, to maybe put in some consultation responses as well to governments, so that we really get those results and we get much stronger sewage and water regulatory frameworks. And then after that, the second thing that we're going to be looking at, as well as the developing laws, are going to really be looking at implementation and enforcement. We need the right duties and the right powers for our regulators to be able to take action against polluters, against water companies if necessary, so that we can put a stop to sewage pollution and also other water pollution too. And that will require additional capacity and funding for those regulators too. And again, we will be asking for your help, I'm sure, when we start lobbying for that.
Great. This is going to be a growing an evolving story. This isn't going to go away, is it? And well, I think it is a long-term question. I know we all realize this is not a short-term solution, but we hope over the years, those the powers that be, stakeholders really can sort of start to make turn the tide as it were, and really see the change we need. Now I'm going to one of our questions about. I'm going to combine this actually. Maybe Gareth, are you ready for a couple of questions? So there's a question here about marine protection zones or marine protected zones, MPZs, and maybe if you've got any knowledge specifically about basking sharks, I challenge you. Throw in an answer there too, but over to you.
Brilliant. And I might be cheeky and bring in a little bit there about offshore wind as well, because they're all interlinked. Across the UK, there's a variety of different names: marine protected areas, marine conservation zones, or in Scotland, NTMPAs. And I'm talking about Scotland right now because that links us nicely to basking sharks. So in Scotland, you may well know there's a whole range of new sites being consulted on, which expand the network of marine protected areas across the UK. So there is progress there. And we have been helping the Hebrides Island Trust on a designation there for basking sharks. Reason being, you may have seen the headlines this year that the numbers of sightings off the Hebrides has dropped to an all-time low of basking sharks. There is still around 20,000, they estimate, that travel from the south of Cornwall all the way up with the Gulf Stream to Scotland each year, but they are declining. So in short, they're not doing brilliantly. We need to do more. But coming to that point there around what's happening next, we know Wales is delaying its marine conservation zones, but is looking to the active management of its existing sites. England doesn't look to be designating any new ones, but is being pushed very strongly by us, I might add, to protect and manage its sites better. But moving into that question around offshore wind, as you might recognise, offshore wind doesn't just happen in protected areas, happens in the areas of our seas. It's a great big appetite and an agenda from the government to increase our renewable energy, which of course we need to do to tackle climate change. But we are very much working with the governments to make sure that avoids the most sensitive habitats and species. And let's try and get to a nature positive marine planning system where we meet those net zero targets, but not by putting the risk onto our already declining wildlife.
Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed. Lots of good content there. And I'm running in between these questions. I think we're going to answer some of these questions, or a couple of these questions, in writing. But I'm going to. I'm now going to. Who am I going to next? Forgive me. I like the land-based question. I think this is interesting about citizen science. What opportunities, Jen? I think, Jen, this one's for you, if I may, and somebody else pop in if you like. What opportunities are planned in the next 12 months for land-based citizen science? How does that work?
Yeah, thank you. We've got quite exciting plans for citizen science. So one of the main areas that we're looking at is we're trialing different types of citizen science within our projects. So, for example, projects such as oh, sorry, no, that's not a land-based one. I've gone completely from land to ocean. Let's focus on land. So we've obviously got the Beach Watch activities that we have, and we are looking at we've got our plans in place for the training that people can do, so that there is training throughout the year so that people can learn to run their own beach cleans and to set those up for themselves as well. And obviously we've got things like our big seaweed search, wildlife sightings as well. Some exciting ones to be involved in that are land-based, so that if you're not near the sea, you could become a spokesperson. So you could be a community presenter or an Ocean Voice media spokesperson for us as well, which is a good opportunity. You get training in media work as well around that. And a new one that we're about to launch soon is an events volunteer. So you will get provided with kit and information, and you can go out into your local community, attend events and talk about all of the exciting things that we're doing, help to develop people's understanding of the ocean and want to protect it. And there would be kit and information that you could have there to deliver that within your own community, or events that we can put you in touch with people to do. Also thinking of the beach watch stuff that you can do. So if you wanted to do a beach clean, but you're not near a beach, we've also got the source to sea opportunities that people can take part in. So that's a litter pick that you can do inland without needing to be near the coast to do that. So lots of things on there. If you visit our website under the volunteers section and what you can do, you can see all of the different events and opportunities that you can take part in.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Now, I'm going to be very cheeky and use my last opportunity as hosting this AGM to answer a question myself of the trustees. And I'm going to pick one of you trustees with a blue background. So just get ready, because there are many people out there who've never been a trustee before, certainly of an organization such as this. And I'd like to give us, I'm going to pick on one of you. So you're just so unprepared. What has been your highlight? What you've heard this evening, or what you've experienced yourself in being involved with the organization in this last 12 months? And are you ready? If you put your hand up, I'll go to you. But otherwise, I'm going to go to you, Joyce.
Okay, thank you very much, Mark Haviland. Lovely to see so many people on the call. Highlights. I think just a very clear vision of what we want to do, surrounded by people who are very knowledgeable what they do and passionate to deliver it. So that would be, and my dog just arrived, that would be my highlight. I think we're really, really achieving some fantastic things. So any support that those who've joined the AGM members on the phone, I think will put your support to good use, basically. That would be mine.
Amazing. Thank you very much indeed. It just shows that everybody's on the ball and ready to answer questions. If any of the other trustees want to have another answer at what they've really enjoyed and seen as progress in the last 12 months, put your hand up now. Otherwise, I'm going to go to, I'm not sure, I'm going to go back to Gareth, if I may. Now, there's been a couple of questions about, I'm just going back to the Q&A. Which I can't see the other questions now, but it's about the health of our wildlife around shores. And I think you've referred to this a little bit, but I'd just like a little bit more about the progress being made in restoring wildlife around our shores. And what else can people maybe look forward to being optimistic about in the coming 12 months?
Yes, and I was just in the middle of typing an answer on the Sandhill question, so I'll finish that after this. So, Nikki, I haven't forgotten your question there. We covered quite a lot of the work we've been doing this year in those videos. You've seen some really nice stats, some really interesting work we're doing there. Over 100,000 flat oysters, or native oysters, if you like, are being introduced to the Dornoch Firth in the northeast of Scotland, to the Deep project with the Glenmorangie Whisky Company. We touched on the work there of the Restoration Forth project, which I should absolutely tell you, won an award this week. It got the Nature of Scotland's Award, which is a fantastic accolade for this joint partnership between Heriot-Watt, WWF and ourselves. 85% survival rate, which is brilliant for the oysters, has gone back in, 30,000 there. We touched on the growth of the seagrass in core sands, but coming across the Wales, we've also put 20,000 oysters back into Milford Haven with more to come. So looking forwards as well, we are really starting to think about, rather than just single species work, where can we start to bring in and accelerate nature's recovery? We know it's in crisis. How do we get some of the cross benefits that work for nature and for people? So we're really looking at species recovery where there's multiple benefits, things like Sandy talked about in the beginning of this evening. Oysters, yes. Horse mussels, kelp beds, seaweed, things that give us improved coastal protection, better water quality, facilitate carbon capture and storage, and provide habitat for other species. In terms of climate change, they're also really, really important for helping address ocean acidification, which if we don't address, means all this carbon sequestration just won't happen.
Fantastic. Lots of stuff going on there. You know, there's this big thing about what's visible and what's invisible. We don't see what's under the waves. This is the problem. This is why maybe it doesn't attach itself to our national conscience. And when the more we hear about what you've just spoken about, Gareth, the more we can visualize what's going under and realize that our everyday actions have such a great effect on all of those areas. And so how important it is for businesses and individuals to get involved. I'm going to come back to Steph in a second, but just before I do, I don't think we didn't answer the question about the sand eel fishing ban, did we? Give me shakes, or did you answer that? Forgive me, Gareth.
I've just hit send, but very quickly, if you don't want to read it, it's a tricky one, and without getting too much into the details, a lot of this is tied into the Brexit agreement, but we are working with our EU partners, Seas at Risk, and partners back at home like the RSPB to try and get this pushed through from a nature point of view. Very much being looked at from a fishing opportunity and a business point of view at the moment, but like us, the EU has obligations to recover our seas. So we're trying to see if they can actually think about that rather than just thinking about the money.
Great. Okay, thank you. Now, for those that missed it, I asked a question of our trustees earlier, and I think I didn't see Steph in my gallery here, but I understand, Steph, you had your hand up. And you wanted to say something.
I did. You know, as you know, Mark, can never resist an opportunity, an invitation to talk about the wonderful things we've been doing. So two things on my list. One is very specific to the work that I do with Jen and the stakeholder engagement team, the marketing and communications team, which is our fantastic summer advertising campaign called the Deflatables. I think that's right, Jen. Which was a campaign that was kind of offered to us free by one of the UK's leading advertising agencies, and it took a real effort of teamwork to bring that all to happen. It was joint with the travel company, Jen, Thompson Travel, I think. But it was a fantastic initiative, and it really shows that if you're up for it, when people bring ideas to you, you can go, yeah, we'll do that and make it happen. And it was a brilliant piece of work. The other thing which I can't take any credit for, but which always blows me away about Marine Conservation Society is if you look at our impact report, and there's my favorite page of all pages, which is the one with the map of the UK and all the places and all the projects and all the people that we engage with across the UK. It's just amazing. We are so far away from being a kind of one issue charity. We are really engaged with all our ocean and all our nations and all the people in the UK, and all of you on this call are part of it. It's fantastic. So that makes me feel good every time I see that.
Fantastic. Thank you, Steph. And we've got we've only got a couple of minutes now, so I'm going to hand over to Will, another of our trustees, because you can answer the same question, but you can also tell us about some other exciting stuff that you've been doing.
Thank you, Mark. That's I'd be delighted to. One of the things I think we're beginning to do really well now is taking all the conservation work and our kind of scientific excellence and bringing that to a new audience. And one particular audience we've targeted is the financial services sector, because there's been a real growth in interest in sustainable investment. And what we do as an organization chimes very well with that growth in sustainable investment. But there's a sort of lack of understanding of the role the oceans play in climate. Gareth talked about that brilliantly. But it's recognizing that, you know, as you said, Mark, you know, this thing is there, you can't really see what's in it, but we kind of know what's going on in it with chemicals and microfibers and other forms of pollution. People just don't understand that 80% of that comes from the land and land-based activities. So once you see people make that connection, then start to realize how they can actually have an influence and impact on that. And that's one area that we are doing some really exciting work with. And I'm sure we'll have a fabulous update on that in 2025.
Wonderful, thank you. And there was a last question there about sustainability rocks, which is some music, bringing music and culture to it. You've got 30 seconds, Will, on Sustainability Rocks.
Well, our wonderful charity was the lead beneficiary of Sustainability Rocks, which was a music event held in London in September that I put together and worked with Kate and her team and Sandy. Sandy was a judge for these bands battling away to be the Sustainability Rocks champion for 2024. It's happening again, October the 9th, 2025. We'll be back on stage with Sustainability Rocks.
Fabulous. Thank you very much indeed, Will. Great way to round off. Thank you all for your questions. Thank you all for your answers. And we're now going to move over to the more formal part of the evening. So I'm going to ask you to all quieten your cameras and mute your mics. And I'm going to be joined here by Amanda. And thank you very much all to the executive team and to the board for joining us there. I'm handing over to Amanda. Amanda, over to you.
Thank you, Mark. So now, welcome to the 33rd Annual General Meeting of the Marine Conservation Society. And we're very grateful to you for joining us this evening. And this is now, as Mark says, the more formal bit of the agenda. And as with the earlier part, we really do encourage you to use the Q&A if you want to ask any questions, or as I'll mention in a minute, in relation to whether you'd be prepared to propose or to second on the votes. And then also I'll alert you to the fact that you'll have the opportunity to vote in polls on some of these items. So as members of the Marine Conservation Society, you'll already have received the AGM agenda as part of the notice of the meeting, and all members are eligible to participate and to vote in the proposals in this session. I'm going to announce each proposal one by one and invite you to see whether you've got any questions and then to cast your vote. And as I just mentioned, for each of these votes, we'll ask for a proposer and a seconder. And if you'd be willing to type your name in the chat if you're happy, then we will record the first and second name as proposer and seconder and capture those in the minutes of the meeting. We'd like to ask members to use the poll function at the bottom of the screen to submit votes. And I just want to alert you that some of the votes have got a number of things that you can vote on, so please do scroll down. If you've already cast your vote by proxy, then please don't vote again. We're conscious that some people here are guests and we're delighted to see you. If you're a guest, of course, you also would not be able to vote. And I just want to confirm that we've had 3 proxy votes, which I, as the chair, will carry. And I should also just put on record that we are quorate for this meeting. So going through the formal items on the agenda, the first item is just to approve the minutes of the 32nd Annual General Meeting, which was held on the 15th of November 2023. So, Mark, do we have any questions from members in relation to the minutes of the last meeting?
We do not. I'm giving them 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have no questions as it stands.
Thank you. I wonder then whether any members would be willing to type names in the chat in order to propose and second. That would be really appreciated. I'll look to you again, Mark. I think you're on mute, sorry.
Forgive me, we have a proposer in the Q&A, if anybody would like to second that motion. We have a seconder.
Thank you so much. So if I could now ask you to cast your vote on whether you are happy to accept the minutes of the last meeting.
Votes are coming in. I'm just waiting for the confirmation. The vote is carried.
Lovely, thank you very much. So I confirm that the minutes are approved. So we now come on to the second item, which is the financial statements for the year end and the report of the trustees and auditors. And this has already been approved by the Board of Trustees on the 15th of November of this year. And so this is going to be, you're invited to note the financial statements, but we would very much want to give you the opportunity, if you have any questions, to raise them. So Mark, are there any questions coming through?
Thank you. I'm just having a look now. There are no questions coming through yet, but just to note for the audience, if they want to put in their nominations, or if they want to propose or second, do use the Q&A function. Not the chat function that is now coming through. Liza, Sheena, thank you for noting that. But we are no questions for now, Amanda.
Lovely, thank you. In which case the financial statements are noted. Our third item is to note the appointment of Safari Limited as the auditors of the company until the next AGM at a fee to be agreed by the Board of Trustees. And that was what we approved at our board meeting on the 15th of November. So again, this is something where members are invited to note, and the board actually carries out your wishes and executes the oversight of the audit appointment. So Mark, are there any questions in relation to our auditors?
No questions as yet.
No. In which case we note the appointment of the auditors. So now we come on to the fourth and final item of business, which refers to changes of our board. And this is a slightly more complex and involved part of our agenda. And I'd like to invite our newest members to come along and introduce themselves. We had a recruitment of trustees round this year, and we were blown away by the people who applied to become trustees of the charity, all really taken by our clarity of our vision, purpose, what we were trying to achieve. So this evening, you have the opportunity to vote on 4 new trustees. Simon, if I can turn to you first, somebody who used to work for the Marine Conservation Society before actually acquiring experience elsewhere, would you like to just say a few words of introduction for our members?
Well, Amanda, thank you so much. It's wonderful to have that introduction and also to have an opportunity to say hello to everybody. And Amanda, you're right. I've been fascinated by the oceans and by the sea since a child. And I was very fortunate to have a job in my 20s with British Antarctic Survey. And I spent 5 years living and working down in Antarctica and completing scientific work on marine biology there. And I came back to this country bursting with energy for conservation. And I joined Marine Conservation Society as your head of conservation back in 2010. I've done many other things since then, including actually up until a couple of years ago, working for DEFRA as a senior civil servant, heading up their inshore marine work. And I was very proud to work with people like Rebecca Powell and other ministers as we completed the designation of the English Marine Conservation Network. And I've moved on to other things now, and I'm really keen to keep my interest in the seas. So I've applied to be a trustee at Marine Conservation Society. And Amanda, I really hope I can help you and the board with the Society's conservation work and its direction, and particularly its lobbying into government. So that's me, Amanda.
Thank you so much, Simon. And we now turn to Wadham, who you have just bring so much experience of financial management and as a trustee. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you, Amanda, and hello to everybody online. Yes, as you say, I've spent my career in finance, worked as CFO for both listed and private equity companies, and I'm delighted to be nominated as a trustee for Marine Conservation Society, and I really look forward to helping yourself, Sandy, and the team in any way I can.
Thank you, and we really look forward to having you on board as well, hopefully. Martin, Martin brings an international dimension and tremendous expertise in the blue economy and ocean finance. Would you like to just introduce yourself to members, Martin?
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Amanda, and good evening, everyone. I'm really thrilled to be with you all. And, as Amanda said, my background is really in economics, the private sector, and finance, but also in charity governance, because I'm also on the board of the New Economics Foundation. And really, my passion is, the future of regenerative seafood in particular, but also the blue economy and really changing the way the finance sector works. Will mentioned earlier that there's increasing interest in the financial sector in terms of changing the way they finance activities, economic activities, and obviously there's huge opportunity for us as the Marine Conservation Society to steer finance economics more in the direction of the goals of marine conservation. So really excited to be here with you and supporting all the great work that the Marine Conservation Society does. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The skills that we have on board are amazing. Can I just check, Raj, are you with us tonight or not? I'm not aware that Raj is able to be with us, but just to let you know that Raj is actually working in academic publishing with Springer Nature, where he's the head of strategic marketing, and he works across a number of journals, including Nature. And he's also been involved working in the charitable sector, bringing experience of marketing and membership recruitment. And we're really excited to have somebody who is able to join our trustees who brings that expertise to the organisation and digital recruitment. It's such an important area for us going forward. So firstly, to ask, are there any questions that members would like to ask of our proposal that we invite you to elect 4 new members to the Board of Trustees? Any questions for our new trustees?
No questions have come in. I think they've all done brilliantly in introducing themselves clearly.
Thank you. In which case, I now have got a really big ask, because please, is it possible that we could have a proposer and a seconder for our new trustees?
We have a proposer. Lorna, thank you so much. And we have a seconder, Andrew. Thank you very much indeed. Amanda.
Lovely. In which case, this is where now, when you come to the poll to vote, please be aware that you would need to scroll down, because you are invited to vote on each new trustee individually being elected. So yes, we hope you will have the opportunity to pick up on all 4 options. Otherwise, there is a real danger that Raj, who is option 4, will be missed out. So please, you will see 1 to 3 on the screen, and we'll need to slide the grey bar down on the right hand side in order to open up the option to vote for Raj as a trustee. Thank you. The vote is open.
I am just waiting for the nod, which will be coming in any second now. The vote is carried.
Lovely. And on behalf of all the current board members, and I'm sure the members, we really look forward to working with you all. Thank you very much indeed. And now I mentioned that we had a very, very successful recruitment round. We, in fact, as a board, took the decision that we also wanted to co-opt a further trustee, Jamie Arnell, who unfortunately isn't able to be with us this evening. He has got experience of being an environmental trustee and also brings a wealth of knowledge in relation to finance and businesses, and is already making his positive impact felt within the organisation. And we have co-opted him onto the board. And so that means that it's within the gift of the trustees, rather than that we are currently inviting Jamie to be an elected member at the AGM. But we wanted to be very open and transparent and alert members to the fact that we also have an additional trustee, and Jamie will be a full trustee for all practical purposes within the organisation. So thank you very much, and farewell to our new trustees. We now come to Helena, and I wonder whether Helena, lovely, it's worked. You are able to join us, because following an initial 3 years, we would like to invite you to re-elect Helena as a trustee for a second term on the Board of Trustees. And Helena, you have served as Chair of Governance and been such a key person within our organisation. And I'd like to invite you to introduce yourself and to confirm that you would be happy to be put forward for re-election for a second term.
Yeah, thank you, Amanda. Hello and good evening. My name is Helena, and I am a lawyer in one of the large UK banks. And as Amanda says, I've now had the privilege of serving as a trustee with the Marine Conservation Society for 3 years. During this period, I've been a member of the Finance, Risk and Resources Committee, and I have chaired the Governance Committee. Now, the remit of the Governance Committee includes the recruitment of trustees, and I am incredibly excited about the incredible caliber of our new trustees. And I know that the board is going to be even better because of the experience, the knowledge, and the diversity of thoughts that all of our new trustees bring. And I would be delighted to be part of this new chapter.
Thank you so much, Helena. So are there any questions that members would like to ask?
We have a question. An excellent question too. So essentially, what are the processes to ensure, sorry, I'm just going to go straight back to it because it's just come off my screen. What steps does MCS take to develop diversity among board members?
Oh, that's an excellent question. Thank you so much for raising it. And it's a subject which is incredibly close to my heart. And I think so diversity of thought, diversity in all, and inclusion, I should say, in all its form, is something which is absolutely central and integral to everything that the organisation does. As part of the recruitment process of trustees, as well as the recruitment process of staff and individuals joining the organisation. And this year, Mark has expertly spearheaded a number of recruitment exercises to the board in the past, and that has laid the foundations for this latest round of recruitment. And so I would say that diversity and inclusion and equity is one of the founding pillars that permeates every stage of the recruitment process, from the sort of original identification of the skill sets needed for us to achieve our strategic ambition, to the advertisements, to the interview process, making sure that everything is judged blind, making sure that we challenge ourselves, having several stages and robust challenge throughout this. And I don't know if, Amanda, if there is anything that you want to add to that. I know this is something that you are very close to as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's just part of who we are, isn't it? Encouraging and benefiting from an inclusive approach, and equity and diversity are important to us. We have a board champion in this area as well. And we're also very proud to have 2 young trustees and an ambition to actually include very young supporters within our trustee work as well. So it's who we are. I hope that satisfies.
I'm just going to add one other fact, which I can confirm. We do have gender parity on the board. It might not have seemed like that when we introduced our new members today, our new trustees today, but we do have gender parity. And I, as Helena said, ran the nominations committee for a while. And while I chaired that committee, I was led by a very, very strong-willed collection of executives who absolutely demanded of the board representation of society, not just those who put their hands up. And Joyce, who ran the most recent process, I think could probably attest to the vigor in the documentation, in the blind recruitment, and in the opportunity for any which way anybody wanted to represent themselves as a potential member of the board. So I only support what Amanda and Helena has. But great question. Thank you very much indeed. I'm just going to check. We don't have any other questions. That one was the best, perhaps, so far. Amanda.
Thank you. In which case, I would like to ask for somebody to propose and a seconder the re-election of Helena as a member of the board.
We have a proposer and we have seconders. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. So in which case I invite you to cast your votes.
Compiling the numbers as we speak. And the vote is carried.
Fantastic. In which case we come to another item, which is again one to note, and that is that we have 3 trustees who are coming to the end of their terms. And as you will already have gathered from the conversation, those include Mark, who has served as our vice chair, and also Susan, who I would love to encourage to come back onto the call. And thank you. Lovely to see you again, Susan. And Susan has been our treasurer. I mean, what a role you two have played. I mean, you just exemplify wonderful trustees of an organisation. And I just wanted to take this opportunity for you to shine on screen and to reflect the thanks and appreciation for all that you've done for the organisation. I mean, Mark, your marketing wisdom, your passion, your networks, you have just been a real beacon for the organisation, as well as the role that you've played in presenting our annual meetings. And thank you. And Susan, the calmness and the level-headedness with which you navigate a path for us without making any fuss through issues to do with COVID or the challenges and complexities of finance. It's just, you always find a way and know what matters. And we've really appreciated your wisdom. On top of which, you just do things like row across the Atlantic in your spare time. A superwoman if ever there was. And so thank you very much to both of you. And then not able to be with us this evening, but I just also want to draw to the attention of members that Jonathan is standing down as a trustee, and Jonathan Hall has actually retired a year before the end of his term. He's still going to continue to be involved in the Conservation Committee for a little bit longer. That is to do with work pressures. And just to say that we have so appreciated Jonathan's contribution. He was the chair of our Conservation Committee and has really had the hands-on experience and the international dimension, and always able to ask that challenging question that keeps us all on task. And thank you to all 3 of you. But I do, for the purpose of business, just want to check, are there any questions that members would like to ask in relation to the resignation of Jonathan Hall?
No questions registered.
Lovely. In which case, with thanks to Susan for joining us just now, Mark, please do stay. I also just want to take the opportunity to say an enormous thank you to all trustees. I think this organisation is so fortunate to have such a diverse range of people who give so generously and passionately of their time, and that the organisation benefits so much from the range of skill sets that everybody brings to the organisation and the real focus. And yes, watch this space for where we take things next year. And so with that, I would like to say, unless there are any burning questions from members, I would like to suggest that this concludes the formal part of our AGM, and back to you, Mark, for the fun part.
Thank you very much indeed, Amanda. Well, that was really meaty. That's a good formal part, well delivered. So thank you very much indeed for that. I'm now delighted to introduce and invite onto the screen Lizzie, who should be joining us live. I'm delighted now. Now, Lizzie is our Beach Watch manager. If she's not live, perhaps she's going to join on video. But
Yeah, I'm here.
oh, there you are. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Great to see you, Lizzie. Now, over the last 9 years, your experience with the Beach Watch program, in your role, you've overseen the beach cleans. You've led on the creation of our State of Our Beaches report. And now I'm going to invite you to share beach clean data and the citizen science that help us campaign to the impact we have. Everything that we've spoken to, it comes down to the action that you guys are leading. So Lizzie, over to you.
Thank you, Mark. I'll just share my screen now, and I've just had to send a request to share my screen, so hopefully someone's seen that. Lovely, I think that's working. Okay.
It's working.
You. Okay, so hi everyone, and thank you for joining this evening. So this year actually marks our 30th anniversary of Beach Watch, our citizen science programme for beach litter. And I'm going to be spending a bit of time with you now on highlighting the impact it's had and is continuing to have to tackle the issue of litter in our ocean and our shores, and just the impact volunteering and members have on this project. So any questions you have, also do also feel free you can also email membership@mcsuk.org, and we are hoping to collate all questions and send them on to you. So as you're probably all aware, beach cleans are critical now more than ever. In 2023, the BBC reported that there was an estimate of more than 171 trillion pieces of plastic floating in the ocean. And our data alone highlights that 80% of the litter that we find is made out of plastic or polystyrene. So really important that the work we do in Beach Watch. So it started in 1994, and at the Marine Conservation Society, we are a data-driven organisation. So alongside picking litter off the beach, we really wanted to record what was found so we can build a data set. And we couldn't collect this data across the UK on our own, so we asked our incredible volunteers to help us with this mission. We then wanted to ensure that the way we collected that data was consistent across the UK. So we asked our volunteers to record a 100-metre section of beach from the last high tide mark to the back of the beach, and then use our recording forms to tally absolutely everything that they find within that area. And it's this data that's been so important to us over the last 30 years. Just to highlight that we couldn't have achieved this without our members and volunteers, and the types of people that get involved in Beach Watch range from families, schools, companies and community groups, all take part throughout the year collecting this information. We have some groups and some people who have been collecting it since Beach Watch started and are still collecting that data for us 30 years on, so absolutely incredible. And then here in the Beach Watch team, we want to support our volunteers as much as possible. So we provide throughout the year live webinar training on how to become a Beach Watch organiser. We also have short how-to videos on getting set up and running your own survey. which is on our website. And then we have resources like how to give a briefing to volunteers, what to say, litter ID guides, risk assessment, templates, posters to promote your clean, and much more. And we're also, as a team, just at the end of a phone or email if any volunteer has any questions. It's really important that everyone who wants to get involved feels supported. So the Great British Beach Clean, you may have heard of this event. It's actually been running as long as Beachwatch has. It's how it all started in September of 1994, as we wanted to take part in a global event, which is called the International Coastal Cleanup, and it's run by an American charity called Ocean Conservancy. So we wanted to start Beachwatch then, and to collect data, not just for our own database, but to send to Ocean Conservancy, so the UK litter data can be included in their global litter report. And we've been doing so ever since. We collect litter all year round, but it's fantastic to have the Great British Beach Clean as our flagship event each year in September to get as much data as possible. And now I want to move on to the data analysis side and how we use that data collected by volunteers. So each year we produce a State of Our Beaches report, drilling into the litter data from the year before and then how that compares from previous years as well. So one way we can look at our data is litter abundance. So obviously our metric is an average per 100 metres of beach surveyed, which is obviously how our volunteers collect the data. And across the UK last year, we saw an average of 167 litter items for every 100 metres of beach surveyed. And then we can go down and break that into each UK country and in the Channel Islands as well. So as you can see, we have England, Scotland, Wales, Channel Islands and Northern Ireland for the average per 100 metres found in 2023. And we can look across the previous year as well. So in 2022. So we did see on average in the UK a slight increase in litter per 100 metres. But then when you break that into specific countries, you can see that some countries saw a drop in litter, some saw an increase, but we can look at trends over time as well to get a better snapshot of litter. And then we can drill down even further to look at the types of litter being found on our beaches. So the top litter items for 2023 were plastic pieces, food packets, caps and lids, string and cord, and plastic drinks bottles. And as you can see, all of them are made of plastic. Caps and lids are being found more and more on our beaches and across the UK and Channel Islands. Nearly 33,000 were recorded across 89% of our surveys last year, and 73% of all surveys in 2023 recorded plastic bottles, which was actually a 4% increase compared to 2022. Food packets, caps and lids, drinks bottles are all public litter. So when people are out and about, these things are entering into our environment, and something that I will mention a bit later on how we want to tackle some of these items being found. Finally, I wanted to highlight some litter items we find can also vary depending on location. The example I use here is sewage-related debris, so things that unfortunately get put down the toilet instead of in the bin, things like your wet wipes, cotton bud sticks and period products. And it's been very topical in the news in recent years with sewage outflows that are entering our rivers and ocean. 30,000 wet wipes were picked up in 2022 alone, and at least one form of sewage-related debris was found on 72% of our cleans in 2023. However, we can see from the heat map that there's particular hotspot areas. So on the map, you can see that the green is where we're not finding, none have been recorded, and then the light yellow to orange is where we're finding some recordings, and then the darker the number, the higher volume is being found. So that really kind of highlights where the hotspot items are for these items. And as you can see quite clearly from the UK, we are seeing high volumes of sewage-related debris across the central belt of Scotland. So looking at data in this way helps us to highlight this issue, and then being able to have those conversations where people have the power to make the change. So we can go to water companies, we go to Scotland Government, and then hopefully we can start making, we can campaign and start making changes to try and stop the litter getting there in the first place. And it's something I will mention in a moment as well. So those are just some of the ways we can kind of analyse the data that's been collected by volunteers. So once this data is analysed, we want to use this data to push for change. So I'm going to go through a bit of a quick timeline of the past almost 10 years of how this litter data has supported policy change. Plastic bags were frequently on our top 10 items when we looked at our Beachwatch data. The peak was actually in 2014, with a total of 10,800 bags being recorded. Then, in 2015, England became the last country to introduce the charge. And we can say now, since then, we have seen an 80% decrease in the average found per 100 meters of plastic carrier bags, which is incredible. So our data can really highlight when there's a problem and when trends are increasing. And then we can show that there's a potential of the benefit of this when policy gets introduced. Moving on to 2019, we used Beachwatch data to highlight and campaign against the amount of single-use plastic items we found on beaches. So just last year, volunteers recorded and removed over 125,000 single-use plastic items from beaches, and that's only a sample of our coastline. Over the years, our Beachwatch data, we've found thousands of plastic straws and cotton bud sticks on our beaches, and there's most of them, a lot of them are the most common items we were finding. This evidence gathered through Beachwatch was used to campaign for the ban. So it's really welcome news when the ban was introduced at the start with the UK countries since 2019. It's still early days, but we are starting to see a decrease in these items, which is fantastic. Bringing it to 2022, we used our Beachwatch data again when we were able to provide evidence on plastic cutlery, plates, trays, cups and containers found on beaches. So we're able to feed that data directly into consultation responses. So it was great to see that since October 2022, we are seeing a ban in these items as well. Again, although it's very early days for this one, we did see a slight decrease in single-use plastic last year, but we'll have to wait for a few more years of data to see the real impact on this ban. Bringing it to this year on disposable vapes and plastic in wet wipes. So in the UK, we throw away around 5 million vapes a week. They're being found in our parks, roads and beaches, and when they get broken, they leave microplastics and leach out all sorts of toxic chemicals, which is damaging for wildlife. They're also packed full of really precious materials like lithium, cobalt and copper, which is essential and is just getting thrown away at end of life. So we supported an environmental activist and one of our Sea Champion volunteers, Laura Young's campaign on for, again, disposable vapes and to highlight their impacts and to drive an action to limit pollution across the country and using our Beachwatch data as well. So now the UK government has announced that disposable vapes will be banned across the UK, which we of course very much welcome. And as I mentioned earlier, with our sewage-related debris heat map, we've been highlighting the issue of wet wipes for many decades now. It got introduced onto our forms back in 2005 when our volunteers were letting us know that wet wipes are being found on our beaches now. And it's therefore great to hear that plastic will now be removed from wet wipe products. So a real win for us and a real great success to highlight that just how much our data has been able to support and highlight the issues. Looking ahead now, it has been mentioned before, but deposit return schemes. So as we saw on the top 5 litter items earlier, 2 out of those 5 items was drinks related litter. So we've been spent many years campaigning for deposit return schemes across the UK to be implemented so we can give these items a value, just like we did for plastic carrier bags. In 2023, we found drinks-related litter on 97% of our beach cleans, with an average of 16 items for every 100 metres of beach surveyed across the UK. So we welcome the announcement that England, Scotland and Northern Ireland will be introducing deposit return schemes for bottles and cans in 2027, with Wales hopefully following suit to include glass and refillable items. And then looking ahead in the future, we want to move towards a more circular economy where everything we use can be reused, refilled, repaired or remade, so nothing leaks out into the ocean and becomes litter on beaches. I wanted to finish here just to bring it back to how we are able to campaign and support policies like that. It's down to our volunteers, members and citizen science that helps us be able to achieve what we've done so far. Since 1994, volunteers have conducted over 19,000 surveys, surveyed over 4,000 miles of coastline, removed 540 tonnes of litter, which is equivalent to almost 6 blue whales, recorded 11.5 million litter items, and 257,500 volunteers have dedicated 450 100,000 hours, which is 51 years of continuous time surveying. An incredible effort, and none of this work we do to tackle litter and reduce plastic pollution would be possible without the dedication of volunteers and our members. So a massive thank you to everyone who helps to support us to drive change. So here's to the next 30 years and hopefully seeing much less litter in our ocean and on our beaches. Huge thank you again for listening. And again, if you have any questions, do email membership@mcsuk.org and we'll be more than happy to answer them. Thank you very much.
Amazing, Lizzie. Really, truly amazing. I can see the congratulations flying up the screen. Really good stuff. But it just goes to show every year presents a new problem. And so the continuity, the longevity, the long-term horizons that you guys have had over the years, and the incremental value of the data that you collect is clearly so valuable. Without the data, there's no evidence. Without the evidence, there's no argument. And without any argument, there's no policy change. So this is crucial. Thank you very much to you and everybody in the team and all the volunteers involved. Thank you, Lizzie.
No problem. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Okay, right. Well, geez, all this energy, all this data now gets on. We now turn our gaze to our. I'm just going to check if there are any questions. I think I've lost Lizzie if I was going to do a question, but I'll come back to that in a second. No, in fact, Lizzie, come back. Sorry, breaking protocol.
I'm back.
You're back. Excellent. Lizzie, there is a question quickly for you. Is there any way to tell how much litter is originating from other countries appearing on our shores, or is it all from us?
Yeah, very good question. It is very difficult, of course. We do have a section on our forms where volunteers can report if they're seeing anything that is very clearly from a different country. So looking at the product and if it's very clear, but most of the time it's quite difficult to tell if it has come from a different country. From my knowledge from Cleans, a lot of it can be found from quite local sources and a lot of UK litter. But yes, it's still a very difficult one to really tell if every bit that you pick up, especially the microplastics, have come from where. But if they can identify it, we do ask volunteers to try and log it if they can. But it is a very difficult one. But it's a global issue, which is why we work with countries all over the world to tackle the issue of litter, because whatever we put in the ocean ends up in someone else's country as well. So it's a global issue. That's why we try and share our data far and wide as well.
Amazing, great answer. And that last point about sharing, working with other organizations, not just in the UK, but around the world. It's an international alliance that starts to bring everything together. Okay, Lizzie, again, thank you so much. Right, I don't think I have another question. No, I don't. So I'm going to move on rapidly to the next section of our evening, which is the awards. Every year, we take this opportunity to say thank you to you lot and to people that you know and love who've been spending so much time supporting this cause of our waters and our oceans. These people throw themselves wholeheartedly into a whole range of activities. You know it more than we do. You are the ones who are doing all of these things, and your passion and your dedication to support your own work goes on locally, and the work organized by the MCIR and Marine Conservation Society, swims, rows, dives, art projects, community projects, schools, businesses, etc. Everything getting involved, all to showcase the creativity that is on show. Now, I'm going to present and introduce the winners of the awards, and there's a video for each. If you'd like more information on those winners and what they've done, it's all available on our website after the event. And of course, use the reactions. But if you want to have fun with the Q&A, it doesn't have to be a question. If you want to say something, just express in words what you feel about these awards, do use the Q&A, the Q&A function. So I am going to start. I'm just going to check if there are any questions coming in that I need to record before I do this. Bear with me. Great. No, on we go. So the first award is the fundraiser of the year. We always begin at that point. Thank you. Now, our first winner, oh, we've gone straight to the video. Can I ask if we pause that video for a second? I've just got to introduce it. Our first winner this evening is an incredible challenge. Took on an incredible challenge last year, rowing the Atlantic as part of a team of 11 people, a mere 3,000 or so miles from Tenerife all the way to Antigua, with no stop-offs on the way, raising £3,500 for the charity. Quite an incredible feat. Her favourite moment was swimming or rowing with a family of whales around the boat. Bioluminescence everywhere, all the joys of seeing those enormous creatures together with the tiniest creatures. Of course, the hardest part of the trip was seasickness. Can you imagine? You're that far away and you've got a long way to go. But her message is to everybody, of course, that no challenge is too small. Get creative, raise funds to protect our environment and the creatures that live within it. And we've got a video now, if you can play, that Arabella Lloyd, congratulations to you on being Fundraiser of the Year.
Hi everybody, I just wanted to say thank you very much for awarding me the Marine Conservation Society's Fundraiser of the Year 2024. Absolutely blown away, honoured, and just it was the best ending for my adventure across the Atlantic in a little rowing boat. Had the most amazing time and was blessed with incredible weather, incredible seas and incredible wildlife. It was an absolute joy. I'd just also like to say thank you very much to all of you for all of the hard work that you do, whether it's fundraising or organising beach cleans or raising awareness for the protection of our beautiful seas around our country. Thanks a million, and please continue to do everything that you do. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Amazing stuff there from Arabella. Now on to our young fundraiser of the year. Now, this year, there's an 11-year-old called Alistair Boulin. Alistair was inspired to support us following a school project on biodiversity and took it upon himself to swim a fantastic 2 kilometers. Now, if you know, we might think about 3,000 across the Atlantic, but that's in a boat. That's kind of easy. For an 11-year-old swimming 2 kilometers, this is particularly hard, and that's 80 lengths of a pool. He was fueled by, of course, a huge stash of sweets to keep his energy and motivation up. And he raised £500 for the Marine Conservation Society, showing everybody that you can make a real difference in your own swimming pool and have a positive impact on the world. Thank you so much, Alistair. Please continue not only to act, but to inspire. Let's watch the video.
Hello, my name is Alistair, and I just want to say thank you for awarding me with Young Fundraiser of the Year and this awesome t-shirt. Because I love marine life so much, I made my end of year project poster about the role that corals play in biodiversity. This was to raise awareness on corals and how much we depend on them. So alongside this, I made a fundraiser and swam 2 kilometers to raise money for the Marine Conservation Society. I hope that that money was useful and it will help restore our oceans. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Love you, Alistair. That's amazing. Isn't he wonderful? Fantastic. Well done to him. Okay, on to our Young Ocean Optimist of the Year award. Now, this celebrates young people who are working to protect, recover, and celebrate our oceans. And we want to make sure the young, of course, have their voices heard. They've got all their lives with the current state, and it's important that they are not only heard, but enabled and supported in what they want to do. We know they're an incredible force. Their passion for the ocean and concern for our planet in general is inspiring, and all of us of every age should take note. And we're proud to be working alongside and celebrating, of course, some of the young people making waves in their communities. So I'm thrilled to announce that in the 12 and under category, the winner is the brilliant Autumn Rose Bradley. Now, Autumn Rose is one of the youngest and most dedicated members of the Hiraeth Anamor Project, Project One Ocean Forum. Now, this is committed to protect the very beginning, this is protect since the very beginning, and encouraging her dad to bring her along to the meetings that she's needed to attend, and then to become a member of the Marine Conservation Society himself. Autumn Rose bravely contributes to decision-making conversations. She stands up, uses her voice, often speaking as the only young person in a room of adults. And we know how speaking in a room of adults can be intimidating, but she has shaped the project for the better, inspiring others and ensuring that we are always thinking about young people, about young voices and young experiences, and making our activities inspiring for them. Congratulations and thank you to Autumn Rose for being a true ocean optimist and a champion of our seas.
Thank you very much for this award. I really appreciate it, and myself and everyone else that helps the Marine Conservation Society likes to help the environment to make it a lot more safer and cleaner for the wildlife that lives in the ocean. Many thanks.
Long may your voice be heard. Awesome stuff, isn't she amazing? Congratulations. Okay, now on to the 13 to 25 age category. Our young ocean optimist of the year is the fantastic Elle Jenks. Now, Elle has been a dedicated member of the Youth Ocean Network since 2023, contributing to virtual calls, helping plan events, and generally supporting our work to increase accessibility and inclusion in all we do. This year, Elle has gone above and beyond to help develop, design, and deliver a creative project as part of our World Ocean Day celebrations in June. The vision for which was the Rumi quote, "You are not a drop in the ocean, you are an entire ocean in a drop." I love that. Demonstrating that individual actions can make a really big difference. Elle brings positivity and creativity to every Ocean Network project she gets involved with, and we look forward to working with her for many years to come. Congratulations, Elle, and here's the video.
I'm really beyond thrilled and grateful to accept the award for the Young Ocean Optimist from the Marine Conservation Society for the Youth Ocean Network art piece that we made this year. It was the highlight of my year and we had so much fun making the art piece. It was amazing to see how inspired everyone was to make their own fish to add to the art piece, and feel that all those small actions that we take every day really do have an impact when we come together as one, and that our voices can be heard. Thank you especially to Katie. The Youth Ocean Network is a space where young people feel that their dreams can be realised and their voices can be heard, and I think that the Marine Conservation Society is different to a lot of other charities by actually taking young people seriously and considering the ideas that they have. So thank you so much. I can't wait to see what we do with the art piece in future, and if we keep being optimistic, who knows what will happen.
Let art reign, and I'm sure that art project will grow and inspire as we go forward. You know, you are a highlight of our year, so thank you so much indeed. Now, as though it were possible to be even more outstanding than the winners we've already seen, we finally come to our Outstanding Achievement Award, our annual opportunity to raise the roof once again for someone who has really gone consistently above and beyond. And this year's winner, if you're ready for it, is Duncan Scott, a long-standing supporter of our Sea Search program. Duncan is a regular on the surveys organised by the team when he's not already diving or otherwise volunteering elsewhere. He's always keen to help the team and new divers find suitable dive sites. Yeah, he's a real natural born leader. and new ones for himself also, and supporting in form filling. It's boring but important, and provide the essential data that we need, as we spoke about before. He's also recently written a newspaper article promoting CSearch and his fabulous work for the local press. Duncan is a true citizen of our oceans, a true citizen scientist, an inspiration in his continuous support of the organization, and a very worthy winner of the Marine Conservation Society Outstanding Achievement Award for 2024. Roll the video.
Hi, my name's Duncan Scott. I live in South Cumbria and I've been a recreational diver for over 10 years now, and dive regularly both in the UK and abroad. I've always been interested in the sea and passionate about protection of marine environment. I did my first CSearch observation and marine life identification course back in 2021, and they were great fun and very interactive, and they introduced everyone to the basics, but also covered in some detail how to tell one species from another and how they interacted with their environment. I've worked with CSearch and Cumbria Wildlife Trust, attending beach cleans, beach surveys and water sampling activities, and have become a marine champion, encouraging others to participate and take an interest in the subject. We participated in seagrass restoration activities, planting seagrass, collecting seeds in North Wales, and most recently in Cumbria too. I've continued to participate in underwater surveys locally and in Scotland, and qualified as a CSearch surveyor early this year. I managed to secure access to a few new dive sites in Cumbria, which is a quite difficult area to dive due to big tides, sandy estuaries, and a variety of maritime industries too. We've used social media to publicise our activities, highlight the extent and the variety of sea life we find, and to inform others and encourage their participation. CSearch has been a fantastic opportunity to learn about marine life alongside like-minded individuals, while making a contribution to the protection of marine life from future climatic change and pollution. So thank you for the very nice award this year.
Amazing from Duncan. Lots more. Round of applause from everybody. It's really great to hear so many different voices get recognized for the efforts they've been making over the last 12 months. So that now brings us on. And in fact, what I'm going to say is I'd like to now see my entire screen full, as more emojis than we've seen yet so far. Pile them on for all of them. A final congratulations to everybody who's been nominated and everybody who won. Look at that. That's fantastic. That's beautiful. I can't even see myself now. There are so many. So fantastic. Thank you very much indeed, everybody. Now we're going to move on to a video from one of our ocean ambassadors, Zoe Lyons. Now, as a cold water swimming advocate, Zoe grew up by the sea and believes the ocean has the power to improve our physical, but also our mental well-being. Zoe is incredibly passionate about marine conservation and has been a dedicated ocean ambassador for the organization over the last few years, and most recently chairing our panel discussion of the Great British Beach Clean launch event in July, taking part in media interviews, really supporting the coverage that this effort gets. She even appeared on a popular TV game show and donated her winnings to the organization as well. So she's really using the power of her voice to help. I'd like to now hand over to Zoe.
Hi there, I'm Zoe Lyons, very proud ambassador of the Marine Conservation Society. So it's lovely to be able to join you and say hello. A little bit about why I wanted to get involved with the charity. I am lucky enough to live on the south coast in Sussex, Brighton, so I have the privilege of experiencing and enjoying the sea on an almost daily basis. Also, later in life, I discovered the joys and tribulations of scuba diving, which has become a real hobby of mine. And as a result of doing that, I have a much stronger connection with the ocean and a much more impassioned response to the needs of our ocean and the need to look after it. And yeah, I think the world needs more middle-aged women struggling into neoprene on a daily basis. So I'm here to help. I was lucky enough to be part of the Great British Beach Clean earlier this year, the launch of it in July here in Brighton on the beach. And it was so lovely to see so many people coming along and taking part and volunteering and doing their bit to clean the beaches up. And of course, we know that as a result of doing those beach cleans, all of that data that's collected, part of the citizen science work, is so valuable. And we've been able to see the impact that it can have and the impact that it can have in the future. Just the very fact that the discovery of plastic bags on the beaches is down by about 80% since they introduced something as simple as a 5p charge really makes me understand how changing habits, changing behaviours can have such a massive impact on our environment. And you know, now we have to concentrate on drinks packagings and all of those things, lids, etc., and get human behaviour to change in a way that we see a huge reduction in that waste as well. And as well as collecting the data on the rubbish that is found on the beaches, of course, we have the data on seaweeds that are discovered and animal life. So it really, really is important that it's a massive, massive amount of data that can be used for good. I think on a smaller level, on a more human level, on an individual level, I think being involved with something like the Great British Beach Cleans just makes people feel a little bit more empowered, like they are doing something to help. And that is so important, because we all know it's, you know, the world and the news can be a little overwhelming at times, and at times it feels like there's nothing that we can do to stop what is happening to our planet. And I think just getting involved on that grassroots level, certainly for me, it's really important. It's really, really important. And those tiny, tiny little things that we do all together make such massive, massive differences. And yeah, it provides hope, which is what we could all do with. And I think as Christmas is coming, I know it's inevitable, it is coming, it's around the corner, perhaps this Christmas we can pass on that idea of hope to people who are perhaps not members of the society yet. Even just telling them to go and visit the website. There's so much information on there that can perhaps change their habits. They can pass on the knowledge. Thousands of brilliant volunteers got involved this year with the beach cleans. Let's make sure that next year even more people get involved, so that even more data can be collected, which will help move things forward and affect change. And that's what I hope for in the new year. So with that, happy Christmas when it comes. Give the gift of knowledge, and enjoy yourselves. Take care. Bye-bye.
What a fantastic way to round out this evening with such impassioned, credible, and beautiful words from Zoe. Thank you so much, Zoe. That's so true. And Christmas is here. We know what we're giving people for Christmas this year. Not only the T-shirt, but also hope and inspiration and optimism. So that was fantastic. Thank you so much. And it's now just for me to say thank you to everybody who's taken part. Thank you to Lizzie. Thank you to Zoe. Thank you to the trustees who've taken part and contributed to the executive team, but also the people who've actually made this event really work. These things are not easy to put on. So thank you to everybody. And it's really been a great evening. A little personal thanks from me. This is, as I said, my final act as a trustee of the organisation, and also for Susan and Jonathan also. It is our farewell, but be afraid, we are not going anywhere. We will still act as advocates. We will still use every sinew of our bodies to ensure that your goals are met through any which way we can. There is plenty to do, and I'm really, really excited that the new trustees coming on and the new members of the team has evolved over the years, and we've had some beautiful members join, some beautiful members stay, some beautiful members move on, but the team is strong, renewed, passionate, determined, optimistic, and purposeful. and all of you. I'm really excited by what you can achieve in the coming years. And lastly, to you, our members, you know, we couldn't do it without you. Thank you very much indeed. Keep going. It can be hard to be optimistic, but optimists are pragmatists at the same time. We can be optimistic, and I hope tonight has inspired you. I hope tonight has set you on a path for the rest of this year towards Christmas and next year to do what you can and to continue supporting the wonderful team at the Marine Conservation Society to do what we all need, which is to make our oceans healthy, and so that we as people and communities can be healthy too. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a wonderful evening and have a wonderful Christmas. Goodbye.